With so many beautiful and wonderful places to see in the world, how do you decide where to go? Well, in today's episode, I will discuss how I choose where to travel and some tricks that I've used, some different methods as well that you could try. Welcome to Solo Travel Adventures. I'm Cheryl Esch, your host. Well, there are many ways that I have chosen destinations, and there is one particular way that I feel has produced the most meaningful and purposeful travel in my experience. Yes, I've had disappointing trips and I've had some incredible experiences. And if I look back on how I actually chose that destination or planned for it, the last example that I will give you, the last way of choosing where to go, I find is the best way. However, let's get into some of the fun ways. So if you're willing to explore some just fun, different ways to choose where to travel, then you might want to try some of these ideas. Now, the first way that some people choose to travel their destination, they pick a trendy destination. For example, and I've done this, I've gone to Paris, which is very trendy. I actually went to Amsterdam intentionally to see the tulips in April. So there are times when I have traveled to sort of fulfill that desire or that spark of, hey, this is a trending place right now, and I want to experience it and see if it lives up to the hype, right? Well, I've also created, and I do create these lists every year, popular places to travel as a solo traveler. Every year I create a list kind of based on what research has shown and what is trending. And there are some trends. You can look back at some of my past episodes that kind of explain why people are drawn to certain trendy spots. So that could be a way. Maybe that is what entices you to get out there and travel. It's not wrong. I've done it. So that's one way you can choose where to go. Kind of look at what's trending, what's popular out there. But keep in mind what might be trendy for certain demographics might not fit what you are looking for. So keep that in mind. What I mean by that is solo travelers and for women, right? We want to keep that in mind. Number 2, you may choose where to travel based on what you've seen on social media. Now, there are some beautiful Instagram reels I've seen out there from travel content traveler curating them and making everything look so lovely. And it is enticing. And it is a great way to actually spark some ideas and maybe even introduce you to some places you would never have thought of. It's even done that for me. The only thing I would say about that is they do make it so beautiful. Whether they've taken people out of the photo to make it look like, oh, this is gorgeous, not realizing actually there was a crowd there, because with photography, we can do that now. And then I would suggest, say you get introduced to a new place that you had never dreamed of going, just do your research as always and make sure it is a place that truly satisfies you or really intrigues you. So that would be number 2. Number 3, the wonders of the world. Maybe you decide where to go based on, hey, I want to hit all the wonders of the world. There are a couple different, there's of course the ancient wonders of the world, there's the natural wonders of the world, and there's what they call now the new 7 wonders of the world. So there's a couple different lists out there that you could pull different destinations from. Now, I will have to admit, we did this, my first international trip with my son, is we did that. We kind of we wanted to hit one of the wonders of the world. And so we made a list of some of them that were interesting to us. And that's how we came about deciding on the Machu Picchu. So you can utilize lists like that to spark interest and see if any of those places are, on your list. You got to get to see, maybe it's the Great Wall of China. There are so many on those different lists that you'll have to decide Which one is most enticing to you? Or do you want to make it a bucket list in which you finish all the new 7 wonders of the world, right, in a certain time frame? Certainly can do that. That would definitely dictate sort of where your destinations will be for the next few years. Number 4, I have used random ways to choose where to pick, and I've heard other people use even more random ways, such as maybe hiring a company to randomly pick your destination. I have heard people put a map on the wall and they throw a dart at it, and that's where they're going to go. So there's many ways where you can make it fun as long as you are open to, being available to go where it says to go, and just having that spontaneous or free spirit to do that. Now, if that does not feel fun to you, then don't pick your destination just randomly like that. One thing I did kind of in the random way, an example of this random picking, also was based on, well, I'll give you the whole scenario. So right after COVID, obviously didn't go anywhere in 2020, but in 2021 was itching to go somewhere. And I was going with my son, so I did have someone else's input. So I had to consider that as well. But we did make some parameters on our random picking. We did decide we didn't want to go very far, meaning no more than maybe a 5-hour flight, I think is what we set. We only were going to be gone 6 days instead of maybe 10 like we normally do. And the price too. So we kind of had a couple parameters with our random picking. We also had to, in this case, because it was early 2021, it was narrowed down by what countries were open, right? And allowing travelers to come. So that was one way we kind of we were able to narrow it down and picked Belize based on all those parameters. But in the past, we have also, prior to COVID, my son and I have also done a little random kind of fun thing where, since I was traveling with somebody else, they picked a couple places and I picked a couple places. Some ways we've done this is we've picked 1 or 2 destinations in each continent, right? And then we came together and we saw what kind of was the same and kind of went from there. So there's some really fun ways that you could just randomly pick a destination based on some of these fun things. Maybe you just want to, you roll a dice maybe, and you have, what is it? There's, 6 numbers. I don't even know. I can't remember what's on a dice. Or even 2, you can do 2 and determine, okay, if I roll a 1, it's this place. If I roll a 2, it's this place. You get the idea. So that would just be a nice, fun way of let's roll the die and see where we end up going. So just some fun. I think making travel destinations and making it fun also kind of gets you excited, I think, at least for me. Maybe this is not who you are, and the random idea, it just makes you more anxious. Then don't do that. Number 5, how I've chosen where to travel also was based on the cheapest flights. So sometimes, and just recently, I have booked a really cheap flight to Greece for next year. And why did I pick Greece? Well, A, it was cheap, and it is a destination that is on my list. So it was not necessarily random, but when I saw the deal, that's how I chose to decide to go there next year. And that definitely has, even when I did Iceland, that was another reason why I chose Iceland, is because I also got a relatively cheap flight. And also it was during the time frame I wanted to go. So even more of a bonus, right? So that would be another way you could kind of, if that's something you're looking at, I love to just, if you haven't tried this trick, I do subscribe to cheap flights, which used to be Scott's Cheap Flights. And they send me notices like every day of cheap flights. So it's very tempting to just book them all. But, you're having in either writing it down or in your head, some specific places that you've always wanted to go to might be helpful so that when a cheap flight comes around, you will jump on it. And another little trick, if you just want to explore out of your own airport, of course, most people know this trick, go to Google Flights, put in your airport for leaving from, and then with the going to, just put anywhere. And sometimes you can, just do a certain time frame maybe, and you can kind of see where are the cheap flights from my airport during maybe this month, right? Certain month. And it will give you some examples. It might even open up some places you hadn't even thought of. And then the final way that I have chosen destinations and where to travel, these ideas are what I have found create the most meaningful and purposeful experiences I've had in travel, is creating, going back, as last episode talked about different seasons of your life and the different hiking terrains, that metaphor I used in last week's episode, could be a good jumping point for you to determine what type of travel would be best for you. And so looking at how you're feeling, energy-wise, mentally, emotionally, what do you need right now in realm of travel? How are you feeling? And so that will determine the types of places you may even consider going. I want to give an example of how I, in a sense, used a random way and cheap flight ways and the final way to create a meaningful and purposeful experience. Back in, I had a traumatic event happen in 2023. And I'll just say it was a legal issue. And so come January of 2024, it was finally kind of coming to a close. And it had really zapped me emotionally. I was struggling with some depression and just other emotional issues. And I knew I needed to go somewhere. And I knew I wanted to go in January. It was kind of like, it got finalized sort of in January of 2024. And I also wanted to go somewhere warm. So I had some parameters. I wanted to go somewhere warm. And I needed it to be in January. We do get, even though I live in Texas, we do get some icy weather, it seems. Late January, maybe early February sometimes. And I knew I just needed to get out of my city and experience nature too. So these were some of the parameters I put on. And I was looking for a cheap flight. And so I started doing some searching. The other parameter I put on is that I do like nature. So sometimes I gravitate towards national parks, knowing that that's going to be the environment. It doesn't have to be. It could be state parks. It could just be some hiking trails or whatever, or just being in nature somewhere. It definitely was a must-have during creating this purposeful travel experience for me. And I also knew I needed some quiet and some solitude. So I wanted a place that would allow that wasn't busy, right? It wasn't, and so I looked at some cheap flights, and lo and behold, I found a really inexpensive flight to Tucson, Arizona in January. And I know the weather is always still really good in January in Arizona. Perfect time, actually, I think, to go to Arizona. And even though I flew into Tucson, I could drive down to the Saguaro National Park and spent some time in the desert, which sort of matched how I was feeling. And it was so quiet, so peaceful. There was hardly anybody around. Matter of fact, one of my hikes, really out in the desert, surrounded by these huge cacti, I was alone almost the whole time until I came across a horse. It was a black horse. There was a rider, of course, and the horse just came over to me. And the lady even remarked that he doesn't usually do that. And his name was Rebel. There's some significance to all that. And I knew that it was like God intended for me to meet this horse as well. And I've been gravitating toward horses lately as well. And just up until that point, I was alone in the desert walking. So it was just very significant for me. It was a perfect trip. I used some of these ideas, the little bit of randomness, the cheap flights, but I also put parameters on how was I feeling in that season right then. And it definitely fulfilled that. It was an incredible trip. I definitely needed it. And so I think that final way, number 6, the way you create meaningful, purposeful experiences is by reflecting on that stuff. You could still, as I did, utilize some of the other tools to create that. But I would start there. I would start with, where are you? How are you feeling? What does your body need as far as the type of environment or travel that would support you in this season? And that's truly important, to have such a transformative experience in your travels. So it's not just going to check off a box on a list that you have. And that could be a reason, and that could be a season that you're in. And that's perfectly fine. I've done them all, right? So these are just some ideas. People often ask me, well, how do you decide? I use some of these tips, but lately, more so, I am utilizing that last example as a way to really create, not just for myself, but even to help others create that for themselves. And that is what I do in my one-on-one coaching, my travel coaching, Healing Through Travel. Go to my website if you want to know more about that. That's CherylBeckEsch.com, and it will outline the program. But if you are needing a little wellness kind of getaway, I am going to be a wellness host on a European river cruise. I'm so excited about this because it brings together two of my passions. I am a Pilates professional, and of course, I love to travel. So I am going to be having the opportunity to teach some Pilates or stretching classes on the ship during that time. And it is wellness focused because it's got great food. There's some activities involved that you can or don't have to participate in. And I'm inviting you to join me. There is a discount right now if you even just get your $400 US dollar deposit in by the end of September. They may extend it. I haven't heard yet, but that will hold the price of saving you $1,250 US dollars on this. All excursions are included in the pricing. Guys, that's incredible. And you don't have to buy a drink package like you do on normal cruises. That's all included as well. So, and your gratuities even included in that price. So it's just one price. You don't have to worry about all these extras that typically, which I'm finding out as I'm going on a cruise in November. But I encourage you to, if you need more information, please email me at hello@CherylBeckEsch.com. I will send you the brochure. I will hook you up with my travel agent, and let's fill up this really intimate ship. It's only 156 people that will be on the ship, and it will be an incredible time. It is August 22nd through 29th of 2026. Now is the time to start booking your 2026 travel, folks. So I hope you will look into that and email me if you have any questions. But folks, consider using some of these tools if you are not sure where to go next time. You got some ideas now on how to pick your next destination or next travel destination, and I'm excited for you. Let's get out there, sisters, and have those adventures. Did this podcast inspire you to participate in a solo journey? Well, my hope is that all women 50 and up have the courage and opportunity to experience at least one solo trip in their lifetime. But maybe you're feeling stuck about trying it solo. With my one-on-one travel coaching program, I can help you have a transformative trip, especially for those who are needing healing. Go to my website, CherylBeckEsch.com, and check out the program. Travel is a wonderful vehicle to heal.